And we are live. I just finished watching this House Select Committee on Intelligence. The open C3 panel is about a half an hour long.
Yeah.
This first session discussion, and then now they're actually in a closed session right now, a classified closed session, right?
Yeah.
So they're still going right now, but that's not being publicized. Did you watch the whole thing, Jack?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing, and my only comment on it is that, as usual, the government is pretty incompetent, because if they were doing the due diligence, they would have consulted me, because I can explain almost everything they can't explain, using basic elementary physics of Einstein. So, but that's okay, because right now, I cannot go into detail anyway because of new developments.
Subcommittee will come to order without objection.
Oh, all right, there. Sorry, that was on in the background. Yeah, so I've been following your emails and I've been following your work for about a number of years now,
Right.
but more intensely the last year or so, since things really started heating up from Estes Park when you presented with Keith Wanser. I was blown away, and I've been diving deep into a lot of your work ever since then, and I think that you guys are on the right track with a lot of this stuff, and it's just a shame that we have all these people that call themselves intelligence workers, and yet none of them are paying attention or really doing the due diligence to take this subject seriously. And I thought that these two presenters were just grossly underinformed on the topic.
Yeah. Well, of course. Well, first of all, the undersecretary, that guy, what's his name, Moultrie?
Moultrie, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's obviously a smart guy. He's well intentioned, but he's a Russian linguist. He's not a scientist. He only has a master's degree in Russian linguistics, so he's not the right guy for that job. And now the other guy from the Navy, I don't know much about him.
Yeah, Scott Bray.
I don't know what his technical background is, but these are basically bureaucrats, unimaginative bureaucrats. Actually, I'm more impressed with with most of the congressmen, including Adam Schiff. I don't like Adam. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't like Adam Schiff's politics, but I must give the devil his due. I mean, he's an intelligent guy, and he asked good questions, as most of the congressmen did. And do you notice the guy Gallagher? I guess Gallagher, who actually asked him about the Wilson document. And Gallagher got it slightly wrong. I mean, he called it Dr. Eric Davis. He called it Eric Wilson when it was Admiral Wilson. But basically, he asked Gallagher asked good questions. So
do you think that was a mistake, or do you think that might have been done on purpose? That they...
No, I think it was. He was just, or maybe he was reading off a document, and maybe one of his staff guys got the. It's easy to make that kind of mistake,
Yeah, I could see that. It's just I just feel like there's been so much deception from the government, hiding what they really know about all kinds of stuff, that I just was really skeptical about what was going to happen here today.
Moultrie. Wait, was it Moultrie? Which one? I think it was Moultrie. He did let slip something that he said something like, well, if we can call it velocity, and that means that maybe he's aware of warp drive, because with warp drive, you can't really, it's not really an object moving, through space. It's an object
moving around
space around it, and it's just freely falling through the gravitational field it's controlling. So that so I don't know if that was intentional or he just let that slip. So maybe they do know more than for all I know, they'll discuss my stuff in classified briefing. That's quite possible.
Yeah, I'm so curious. I would love to be a fly on the wall in that room right now, just to know. I wouldn't share anything, but I would just like to know. This what did I want to mention? There was also a comment from Scott Bray of the Navy there.
Yeah.
at one point where he said, when it comes to material we have no material. We have detected no emanations within the UAP task force that would suggest it's anything non-terrestrial in origin.
Yeah.
And this kind of relates to that, was right in line with that Wilson documents thing, where they talked about that. I thought it was interesting that, Black Vault has a CIC document from, around 1947, 48, where the U.S. Navy maybe it was the Denmark Navy or NATO, that recovered a piece of metal from a UFO in Denmark, and it's documented. It has a whole chain of custody, and there's a number of pieces of metal that we have documentation for that came from UFOs. Where did those go, and who's studying them, and why?
Yeah, well, either he's lying, or they're just not competent. They just haven't done their job, right?
Yes. I like to blame it on a lot of incompetence, and I
think it's probably more incompetence than anything else.
I think it's also misdirection, and that the Pentagon has done a lot of misdirection and disinformation. And I know that in the hearings, these congressmen and other officials from the government were discussing, the whole idea of what kind of ramifications or repercussions should be in place for people out there who spread misinformation or disinformation.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that at all.
You heard that part, right? That was
the whole thing. That's scary as hell. I don't know who that congressman is, but I'll bet he's a Democrat.
Yeah,
that guy is evil. That guy, because
it was Gallagher.
Yeah. Oh, no, it wasn't Gallagher. It was another guy. No, it wasn't him.
It wasn't him. It was right around this area.
No, it wasn't him either.
Oh, Krishna.
There's another guy.
Not Krishnamurthy, right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't him. He was okay. And it wasn't Adam Schiff. It was some guy in between. Him.
LaHood. Yeah, that was the guy.
Who the hell is LaHood? Is he a Republican or a Democrat? Does anybody? Who's LaHood?
I would bet he's a Democrat.
That guy is like, what is he from? What's he from? From where? He is American attorney serving, but what party is he in? What party is he in? It doesn't. Look at Wikipedia. Let me say, wait, Congressman. Does it say? Wikipedia.
Yeah, let's go to LaHood. Party.
Congress. It must say what his party is.
Republican.
He's a Republican. My God. Okay. Well, a lot of asshole Republicans too. I mean, I'm really an independent, but that's the kind of thing where they can label somebody they don't like.
It's not the same guy.
As spreading disinformation, and in any case, it's unconstitutional. Be protected by the First Amendment, which is supposed to protect even disinformation. You just expose it. If it's a disinformation, you expose it as disinformation, but you can't.
So that was a different guy, and I think
LaHood. He's Illinois. Yeah, Illinois. Well, but that was very dangerous. What he said there. That looks and then let's see. There was something else, but go ahead. Yeah, continue what you were going to say.
Oh, that was Ray LaHood was a Republican. Darren LaHood is all. He says he's also a Republican. All right, so there might be father and son actually. I'm not sure. Yeah, the son of Ray LaHood. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty scary that they discussed repercussions for if I were to get something wrong accidentally and accidentally spread misinformation, that I could go to jail. But they didn't talk about whether Pentagon officials or people from the government can go to jail for spreading misinformation.
You mean like Louis Elizondo, for example? I'm not saying Louis intentionally spreading disinformation, but I'm just saying somebody like him, let's say a whistleblower. I don't mean
a whistle. They
I'm not accusing him of anything.
Plant a whistleblower or something like that. I definitely, I was that took me off guard, and
no, I had the same reaction you did.
Because the fact is that there's so many people spreading misinformation or disinformation, whichever the original intent of whoever put it out there was. There's so many people that are confused about this and just looking for answers. So it's including their congressmen. Our congressmen seem like they knew some stuff, but
The UAP Task Force.
I don't know. What do you think about this issue? I was considering that, we get the scientific community together and write the modern day equivalent of a Roosevelt letter.
Well, in a way, it's all irrelevant now because it's happening. We don't need the government.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's just a question of showing whether the physics approach is correct, and
Yes.
there are no obstacles to that right now. And so let's just see how it. I've been given all the tools I need to go ahead, and now we have to just we're checking ourselves to try to find mistakes in our theory, and then if we can't find that, then we'll go ahead and start trying to do some engineering. But there's nothing stopping us from doing that except our own stupidity, our own mistakes, perhaps. So now it's put up or shut up for us, and we don't care what. It doesn't matter what the government thinks, because we'll go ahead and do what we think we have to do to actually get this technology.
Well, yeah, like Brian Kelly points out that I don't know. Are you aware of anyone else on the UAP task force that has a solid physics background? He mentions Sean Kirkpatrick, and it will probably take him a year. Yeah, it will definitely take him a year to get up to speed with all the physics on this.
I don't know who Sean. What's his background? Can you get?
Yeah, let's bring him up. Is there anyone else with a physics background on the UAP task force that people are aware of? We definitely need more.
Yeah.
Solid physics background on this. This is not the same Kirkpatrick. Sean Kirkpatrick, UAP Task Force. Yeah. Ooh,
Okay.
Scientist and sorry.
Yeah. No. Go ahead. What does he say? Let's see. So, what's his background? You see it? Okay. What's his background?
This guy. Yes, I've seen him before.
Vice Command. Okay. What is his background?
He's got a Ph.D.
In what? Let's say what? Is there a Wikipedia article? That'll usually have it.
Yeah, let me try to find that. Let's do Sean Kirkpatrick.
Wikipedia.
It found when I went to Wikipedia, it found a Sean Kirkpatrick who was the keyboard for a band, band.
Okay.
So
director.
Trying to redirect it to the right Sean Kirkpatrick. So this is a serious contract.
Can you make it bigger? Can you read it?
I'm just looking through to see if this says anything about where he went to school and his educational background. I mean, let's look him up on Google Scholar and see if he's published anything.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I go to Google Scholar and I type in Jack Sarfatti, right? Oh, I get a number of physics papers, and all right, 1975 Cornell. Oh, there we go. Boom. Real easy to verify, right?
Yeah.
Let's try Sean Kirkpatrick.
Okay, laser. Okay, I see. Okay, okay, he's a laser physicist. He's experimentalist.
Got it. Yeah. Hey, maybe he's the right guy because we need.
No, he's not though. He's not the right guy. He's okay, but he's not. You need a theory. You need a theoretical. You need a guy like Michio Kaku. I mean, I could do it, but I don't want it. I don't want to do it. But you need a guy who knows about gravity and stuff like that. He's not the right guy.
How about Neil Tyson? I might be able to get.
No, Neil Tyson's an idiot. And he's not an idiot.
He's not an idiot, man. He's a sharp guy.
I mean, but he
remembers everybody's birthday, like all his close friends and stuff. I know someone who's a close friend with him, man. He's
but he's part of the debunking community.
Yeah, I know that he's been on the wrong side of the fence, and he got on that early on from a lot of
And he's
misinformation.
friends with all these guys from the Skeptic Society, and
Yeah,
they're total disinformation.
they're disinformation agents and they're pseudo skeptics. A lot of
Yeah,
them.
right, pseudo skeptics. Yeah, so I don't trust Tyson, but Michio Kaku, has his head on straight. I know Michio is actually thinks the UFOs are real physical objects. I actually had a private conversation with him back in 2004 in Santa Fe. We were both speaking on a program, so he would be good.
Yeah, he did a whole Discovery Channel episode on like UFO, like how a UFO might work, and talking about the technologies. Like that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, but he didn't have the right idea then. But
no, he did not. He did not.
Let me just say a general thing. We understand the whole thing. Yeah, when I say we understand what parts of battle-tested mainstream physics explain what's being seen. Now, when we say we understand, it doesn't mean we know how to replicate the technology. Those are two separate things. And let me make an analogy with 1941, the Manhattan Project. Every physicist back in 1941 understood nuclear fission and that in principle you can make a nuclear bomb from nuclear fission. But and Hitler, tried to get Heisenberg to organize a project. So maybe Heisenberg deliberately sabotaged the project. We don't know. But Oppenheimer, we had Oppenheimer, and my professors at Cornell actually accomplished it, and also John Wheeler. A lot of geniuses, Richard Feynman. But
Teller.
And Teller. It took it took several years and huge resources to accomplish it. We're in the same situation now. We don't know if we'll have the luck to actually solve the engineering problems. We basically know what they are, and I can't go into details what they are. You have some idea, but whether we can accomplish the goal in the next few years, that's up for grabs. But we know what the theory is, but also, okay. So there was some fear that the Russians had it, that Putin had it, because Putin's people have been following my work, since the 1970s actually, and but I don't think the Russians have it, because if they did, Putin would have used it.
I don't think they do, because the thing is, I don't think with the secrecy it could be built. I think we need to do this open source, and it needs to be a massive community effort for the worldwide.
No, that ain't gonna. I can tell you right now. No, it's not gonna happen that way.
How do you think it's gonna? How do you think it's?
Well, I know it. I mean, I have the money to do whatever I want to do. I mean, I have basically in the pipeline. There's unlimited money. Money is not an issue.
Yeah, no, that's what we've got. We've got some people on board that are just basically like, get this working and show us that it works. Money won't be an issue.
Well, but I mean, the money's already coming, but
that's amazing.
The thing is that right now we have to, attain some benchmarks to show that the theory is, leads to some kind of testable laboratory results. And if we can't do that, well, then we'll stop. But we know somebody's doing it. I mean, these machines are flying out there, and whether my particular group can accomplish it, that's partly a matter of luck, and we'll see what happens. But it's not going to be made public at this point. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If it's done, it's going to be done. It is being done, behind closed doors.
So you think you don't think it's already been done?
I don't think so. Well, okay. I think it's been done in the future, and since there's time travel involved, these people from the future, and maybe from my own work, from my own team, may have come back in time. Now, in that regard, in terms of the time travel,
that's far out.
Well, the thing is this: it's not really. If you understand general relativity, control of gravity is control of time and space, and there is this false obstacle that was put up by Stephen Hawking. They're talking about closed time-like curves, but actually you could travel back in time without using a closed time-like curve. And then the objection that Hawking and raised doesn't even manifest itself. So that was kind of a red herring. That was kind of a straw man issue. And what did strike me as important is this guy Frank Milburn. Frank Milburn is he's a military, British military, and he
Yep.
wrote papers, the UAP papers, at Visser from the Begin Sadat Institute. And what surprised me is that Frank, on a few recent videos, said his speaking with intelligence people, both in the Britain and I think Israel and the United States, they all think it's time travel now. So I'm not the only crazy guy saying time travel. It's not just crazy Jack Sarfatti saying it's time travel. That apparently other independent intelligence people and scientists have come to the same conclusion. And there's good evidence that it has to be time travel, apart from anecdotal, like my contact when I was a kid and all that stuff. Even
Is
apart from that.
is warp drive time travel? Sorry to.
Yes, of course. That's the whole point. If you have warp drive, that's time travel. You can travel in time. Because if I had a blackboard, if I had the right thing, I could draw you beautiful pictures and show you how that works using what are called Roger Penrose's light cone diagrams. You could see how you could travel back in time. Well, locally, you're not traveling at all. You're just bending your local light cone, and you're just bending it around, to go back.
Are these spinners, or what is it? What is that called?
That's just a standard general. What the gravitational field does, it determines in general relativity, the gravitational field is simply the pattern of all free falling or free floating, what are called geodesic paths. Those are, okay, the astronauts on the space station, they're going around in a circular or elliptical orbit, say circular orbit, and they're weightless, right? So that closed path is called the time-like geodesic, and there's no g-forces; they're weightless in that. Well, also there's the geodesics for light rays. That's called the light cone. So the point is, you can control the shape of the light cone, and by controlling the shape of the light cone, it can show you that even though locally you're just free floating locally, you don't notice anything is different, but from an external observer, you're literally going back in time. You could bend the thing around. It's like a closed time-like curve that doesn't come back and meet on itself. It's just like a loop, and let's call it just a U-bend in time. And it's the light cones itself that are twisting around, because you're controlling the curvature of space-time with small amounts of energy. So the concept is very easy to understand. Basically, I could explain. If I had a blackboard, I could show nice animations. You could show it, and people would get it right away. But the basic concept of it is easy to understand. What's not easy is to actually find the way, and I don't want to go into detail, the way of actually accomplishing that.
Yeah. If you go to Jack's Estes Park presentation, just type in.
That's old. Yeah, those are old. Those are old formulations. Yeah.
Hey, there's still good background. I know you can't talk much about anything you've worked on. What is it? February 1st is when
is the new.
Everything went dark, right?
Everything is dark. Yeah, in terms of details. Yes.
And so let's talk about the team and who we need, what kind of scientists we need, what kind of training. Like we got a lot of Ph.D. students and grad students and also undergrads that watch this channel that might be wanting to pursue a career in this field once it opens up.
Solid general relativity. The papers of Matt Visser are very important. Matt Visser, if you could find him go to archive. Go to the archive.
Archive.org?
Yeah, go to the archive. Yeah, go there.
Wayback Machine, right?
No, just go, no. Just the Cornell ePrint, not the...
Oh, the Cornell ePrint archive.
Yeah, the AR, just do Just do AR capital
There we
XIV.
go. Matt Visser.
All right. Well,
Let's see if this is the right.
yeah. Well, oh yeah.
No, this is a different guy.
That's a different guy. No, just do AR capital XIV.org.
Oh yeah,
AR capital X. AR capital X. Okay, that's it.
that's this the sciencearchive.org. Yeah.
Yeah. And now just where's the
Yeah.
search? You can see that search to Matt Visser. No, it's V. How do you spell it?
BISS.
That's it. Okay. And
Neural network, spaceborne
no,
submillimeter.
do Matt. There may be more than one Visser. Do Matt Visser.
I had this one: inner horizon instability, non-singular black holes.
Okay, keep going. These are all but go slower. Let me go slower.
This hair-like space-time.
No, wait. You must be okay. See that page, number 8. Go look at number 8. Okay, anybody want? Okay, look at number 8. That's an important paper. And yeah, that's an important paper. That's the weapons. Those are UFO weapons. And
so not only can we create a bubble above our craft, right, to float it around and bend space-time around the craft, we could create one around a cow and pick it up, right?
Yeah, or crush the cow. Yeah, well, that's the attractor beam. Yeah, everything you see about them UFOs taking people, that's all real.
What?
Now, in this paper, he shows in principle how you could do it, but he doesn't have solve the problem. How can you do it with small amounts of energy? He doesn't have he has the kinematics, so to speak. He has the geometry, but he doesn't have the dynamics, how to actually accomplish it.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this.
Doesn't.
I can tell you this. It's public knowledge because on History Channel, on Unidentified, there's an Italian Navy guy who talks about who I've met by Zoom. That's all this. That's all real. That's all real. That's all. That's all.
But it sounds completely silly.
But it's not silly.
Laugh all you want.
Laugh all you want. But the thing is that there is evidence that there is a underwater USO base at the Calypso Deep, which is the deepest part of the Mediterranean Ocean, 17,000 feet below sea level. It's sort of between Sicily and Greece. And the allegation, I've been told, there is some kind of alien or time travel, whatever you want to call it, some kind of underwater base at the bottom. So the pressures are enormous at 17,000 feet, right? And but there's a base there, and there are UFOs or USOs, or what call them, coming out of the sea at that point. And so the Italian Navy sent in, I guess, a frigate or a destroyer, with the equipment that this guy I know designed to try to, see what's under there, to, actually, some kind of sonar or a system. And what happened was a USO flew out of the sea, aimed a stressor, what Matt Visser would call a stressor beam, aimed a beam at the ship, at the bow of the ship, and this bow of the ship started crumbling. It started buckling, exactly like the pattern in a stressor beam in Matt Visser's paper. And it was like just a warning shot. It was a controlled buckling. It didn't destroy the ship. It didn't kill anybody. Just said, keep away from here, basically. And the ship. So now I'm told,
like some other scientists working on.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Also, I am told that NATO ships have a directive to stay clear of this area. Now, commercial ships can go, the fishing boats, stuff like that, no problem. So this intelligence, this advanced intelligence, whatever it is very, it's just telling military ships, don't fuck with us, But ordinary pleasure ships, fishing ships, they don't do anything to them. And then the same source told me that when a UFO attacked, their aircraft, Italian Army helicopters and stuff like that. And when they tried to shoot a missile at it, the missile disintegrated. So it's the force shield idea. They have so see once you can control gravity, you can do all this science fiction stuff becomes real. So I'm saying that this is actually happening now, unless I don't think now. My source is pretty reliable. I think he's telling the truth. He's not making up a story. I mean, he could be making up a story, but
it's not Ron Pandolfi, is it?
No. This is Italian Navy guy. It's an Italian Navy person, okay, who is very high up in the Italian Navy and is a real guy. He was on Unidentified. He talks about some of the stuff with Louis Elizondo. Okay, go to Unidentified, the program where Louis Elizondo goes to Italy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, some of that story, not all of it, some of that story is actually on History Channel, which is why I'm talking about it, because it's already out in the ether, cyberspace. So, and no, I don't think the Russians have it, because the Russians would already be using it. They wouldn't. Vladimir Putin, his army's being kicked in the ass now in Kiev and in Kharkiv, and we're pushing him to use his nukes, which is the bad thing. So we shouldn't be so happy that the Russian army is doing so badly, because that just makes it more dangerous for all of us that we're all going to die in a nuclear attack. I'm here in London, which is I know Vladimir Putin really is angry at Boris Johnson, and you can be sure if Vladimir Putin decides to go nuclear, he's going to attack London first, and then maybe Washington D.C. second. So
yeah, I've heard that. I've heard from other people that the nuke thing is just a bluff, because and that they even have maybe some of these gamma ray lasers that are
okay. Well, now that's an interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, because there's this guy, Dr. Peter Pry, who was CIA, who wrote a lot of this stuff about the advanced Russian tactical nukes, including the EMP weapons. And I don't understand, if Vladimir Putin had these advanced weapons, why he wouldn't have used it. For example, he could have just exploded a small tactical nuke EMP above Kiev when he first attacked, and that would have immobilized. He could have just rolled his tanks in, and the same thing. So I don't think that intelligence doesn't seem to be correct, because I don't see why he wouldn't have used it. Okay, in terms of your physics guys, we have Matt Visser, right?
Yeah.
If you can go back to Matt Visser, back to the archive, there's that one tractor beam, but it's a couple of other papers. Okay, no, just go. Okay, now where's it's tractor beam. Keep going down. Keep going down. Yeah, keep slow. Well, here's stuff on. Okay, generic warp drives. That's a good paper. Generic warp drives, and then he'll have stuff on wormholes. Keep going. Keep going. Well, he wrote the book. He wrote the definitive book, but this is his recent stuff. Keep going. He's the top guy. Matt Visser and his group. He's the top. He's the top gun. In this field right now.
He's not involved with any program currently that you know of.
No. Well, he's a professor in New Zealand. I've met him once. I met him in 2000. He's a mountain man. He looks like somebody coming down from the mountains, from a redneck-looking guy.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me go. But he's very smart. And he has the basic general relativity for all this stuff I'm talking about. What he doesn't have is how to achieve it with small amounts of energy. That's the classified part. But
that's a lot of material science, I believe.
Yeah, that's the material science part. And but I use Matt Visser's general relativistic, and people who work with him, he's the guy to go to. So anybody into general relativity or gravity, you should read Matt Visser. He's the man. In fact, at some point, we're going to try to make him a financial offer he can't refuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
okay.
See.
And then
any other? So Matt Visser, we got on the team. If we had the UFO reverse engineering dream team, here we go.
Yeah, he would be on the dream team. He'd be in charge of the gravity part.
Yeah, okay. And the calculations. We got Michio Kaku,
Kako's a good guy. Kako would be. He's a visionary like me.
Yep.
And then on the I can't really talk about the solid state part because that's getting now into my NDA thing. That's sort of giving the store away. So there's
Yeah.
condensed matter physics, very important.
Yep. We need some
And-
condensed matter guys, and also the material science people.
Well, condensed matter is it's basically material science. It's basically that same thing. And there's the consciousness part, right? There is on the conscious part. There's been a paper by a guy named Paavo P. He's a Finnish guy. I can't spell his last name, but he wrote a nice paper called "Is the Brain Analogous to a Quantum Measuring Device?" And in section 7 of that paper, he does a very nice description of my solution of the hard problem. What consciousness is as a quantum mechanical or post quantum mechanical phenomenon. He explains it very nicely, and he is he's a mainstream guy in terms of consciousness. So,
That's interesting. Yeah.
So it's becoming, remember 50 years ago. So if you read How the Hippies Say Physics, 50 years ago, people from the CIA, around Hal Puthoff and other people, they basically said to me and a few others, Jack, we want to know two things. What is consciousness in terms of physics? That's what the hippies say physics is all about. And how do flying saucers work? Those are the two problems. And what I'm saying is, mission accomplished. We have solved those two problems. Conceptually, we understand the phenomenon. Okay, so that means that we can make artificial conscious computers. We can make, we could have your Tesla car is going to be basically as conscious as you. Your iPhone, Siri is going to actually have consciousness.
Like Knight Rider, right? Kit.
Yeah, right, exactly. Because consciousness is actually a relatively simple, easy to understand natural physical phenomenon if you know where to look. It's not hard. There is no when the philosopher David Chalmers talks about the hard problem, and he even got that good playwright to write a play called The Hard Problem. I forget his name. The hard problem is really an easy problem conceptually. Okay, and then we can use, we have Stuart Hameroff with his microtubule explanation of consciousness. There's something right about that, but the details, we can make artificial microtubules. They're called quantum dot artificial neural nets. And if you just pump them right into what's called a macro quantum coherent Frohlich state, I claim it'll go conscious, provided it has enough inputs and outputs. It'll go conscious. So that's what we are. We're just machines. We're post quantum, sort of quantum
computers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we are. We're post quantum. We're better than quantum computers because quantum computers are not conscious. We are post quantum computers, and the reason we are conscious is because in David Bohm's interpretation of quantum theory, you have quantum waves and you have classical particles and classical fields, like the classical electromagnetic field, like the electric fields in our neurons are classical electromagnetic fields, but they interact with these quantum waves, and the quantum waves, or quantum qubits, information, whatever you want to call them, Bohm calls it active information. Those are physical mental fields. And so it's now we know exactly how the quantum waves change the classical motion of matter. So that's how mind moves matter. We understand how mind moves matter very easily. It's the Bohm quantum potential. Once you realize that the quantum potential is a mental field. But what we didn't know is the back reaction of the classical electromagnetic fields on their quantum waves that excites conscious qualia or conscious experiences. So we understand. And this guy Pilkin explains this very well, in terms that most academics and students can understand. So he's done a nice job explaining my.
Who is that? How do you spell his name?
It's Paavo. Okay, just look under is the brain a quantum measuring device? Is the brain a quantum measuring device? A quantum measuring device. Okay, let's see what. Okay, no, that's not it. And okay, do
Not this
no,
one.
no, that's not, no, that's not, no, that's not, it's okay, that's not, okay.
Yeah, that's
Go back, go back, Do is the brain a quantum and do the type in P the name capital P A capital P AAVO. Okay, now see what comes up.
okay. Paavo.
No, let's see. No, damn it. Are you on Google?
Yeah. This is Yahoo. Let me try.
No,
Google.
no. Yahoo stinks, unfortunately. But go to go. Yeah, it's yeah.
Let me just
Yahoo's no good.
and
No. That's no good. That's Yahoo.
I'm just gonna copying the search query.
Yeah, you're right.
Type it over. Let me just quantum mind.
No. It's the brain a quantum measure. Oh, go slow. You should be going. I had no problem finding it.
Paavo, right?
Yeah. Let's see.
Pikanen, right?
Yeah, that's him. But that's not that's him. This is the guy. Okay. Paavo, I can't spell his name. That's it. That's the guy, but that's not the paper.
Right.
Trends.
This is interesting. Oh no.
Let me see if I can find it. I have it.
This guy was so this guy's no, that looks
He's fun. He's given a lot of talks. The Fetzer Foundation. Let's see. Wait a minute. I'll be right back. Let me see if I can find it.
I'm gonna copy his name and see if I can't look him up.
Okay, I have it. Okay, I got it. I'm gonna. Well, I don't know how to do it. It's called. Is the brain analogous to a quantum measuring apparatus? Is the brain analogous to a quantum measuring apparatus? And Paavo is his name. Okay. See what happens when you do that.
Apparatus. That was the
Yeah. So quantum measuring apparatus. It should come right up.
Yes. Yeah. Device was the key word. It was throwing it off. It's apparatus.
There you go.
Between a device and an apparatus. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So now go scroll down to section 7. Scroll down to section 7. Accept all cookies. Yeah. Keep going down to section.
So I gotta find that.
No, you have to get the paper. That's not the paper. Just no. Go back. Yeah. Just download the paper. No. No. You can get it without doing that. No, that's not. No. That's the wrong paper. Go back. You did the wrong link. No, go back. Go back to is the brain. Go there. Go there. Okay.
There's the paper.
Okay, there's the paper. Yeah, now scroll down.
Let me just zoom in so people can see it blown up.
Okay, scroll down. Just look for section 7. This is a nice paper. Anybody want to get it, they should read this paper. Okay, go slower. That's section 7. 4 against 4. Keep going. Okay, next one is the next section.
Yeah, number 7.
Yeah, okay. Just read that out loud for them.
It is interesting to consider Bohm and Hiley's proposals in relation to the physicist Jack Sarfatti's suggestion that so-called back action plays a key role in how conscious experience arises in the context of the ontological interpretation. When describing this interpretation above, I have emphasized the way that R and S coupled field psi R of t, which satisfies the Schrodinger equation, influences the particle through the quantum potential. But if the field influences the particle, might not the particle influence or act back upon the field? After all, the law of action and reaction is one of the basic principles of physics.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so back action. Indeed, Bohm himself considers the possibility of a kind of back action, a dependence on the field of the
dependence of the psi field. Whenever you see psi field, think of that as the physical mental field. That's your mind. Your mind is a psi field. But go ahead.
the psi field on the actual location of the particle in very short distances and very short times. In his interpretation already in his 1952 hidden variables papers, and Bohm and Hiley discuss it briefly in the Undivided Universe in 1993 paper.
Right. That's how I got the idea from there.
Nice.
I got the idea from them. Go ahead.
They emphasize that the way the quantum field affects the particle must not be seen as an external force, but rather as much more subtle influence, which we have described as informing.
Right.
If there is a back action from the particle to the field, could it also be a more subtle kind of influence? Sarfatti's fascinating suggestion is that conscious qualia arise in some circumstances where matter acts on the quantum field.
Acts back on the
quantum. Matter acts back. So what is a qualia?
Qualia is your experience. That's just a term in psychology. Your intrinsic feel, your feeling. Okay, yes. Your feeling. That's a qualia. You're just a moment of consciousness is a qualia.
Our basic ansatz to solve the hard problem is that active quantum information, physical waves, are intrinsically mental. Qualia are excitations in them directly imprinted by the back reaction of the classical material Beebles.
That's a technical term in Bohm. No.
Yeah.
I think of a hidden variable. They just mean classical objects. The stuff you see directly with your senses.
Right. All right. So this relates to the Wheeler it from bit stuff, right? I always think back to that, like it's all.
Yeah, it's related. Except Wheeler, you see, was not a Bohmian. He was a Bohrian. With Wheeler, the beable emerges from the bit. Yeah, the bit is the wave function. But in Bohm's theory, both have equal ontological status. They're both there. So yeah, so Wheeler was not correct in this, although I was very influenced by Wheeler. That's a side issue, but just go on.
Yeah, no, it's
a side issue. It's a good point. But
this condensed proposal has two parts. On the one hand, there is the assumption that active quantum information, physical waves, are intrinsically mental. The back action then makes such intrinsically mental waves conscious. Thus, this proposal tells us both what it is in the world that is intrinsically mental and what it is that makes such intrinsically mental states conscious in some situations.
Right. Yeah. Now keep going.
In another context, Sarfatti speaks about conscious qualia as the impressions on the macro quantum coherent pilot waves by their classical electromagnetic signal sensory inputs. Macro quantum coherence here refers to Frohlich's 1968 suggestion that there should be vibrational effects within active cells as a result of a biological quantum coherence phenomena. These effects are supposed to arise from the existence of a large energy of metabolic drive and should not need a low temperature. That's from Penrose.
Yeah, keep going.
Sarfatti's proposal fits into the scheme of soma significance in the sense that he provides one suggestion about how consciousness arises. Such suggestions are hard to come by in consciousness studies. The currently prominent proposal.
Okay, well then it goes on to other things. But in any case, this is a good paper. He's done a real
great introduction. I mean,
yeah.
For the layman, there's a million words they have to go look up now just for definition.
Yeah, well, see, because you went into the middle. If you started reading the paper from the beginning,
yeah,
he defines most of that stuff, and then you do a little homework. But this is the paper for anybody into physics of consciousness, and it's not a paper by me. It's a paper by an independent, professor, a guy, with credentials, who's basically bringing my particular explanation of consciousness into the mainstream academic world because he's a credible source. So I don't have to do anything. I'm not going to do anything more in consciousness. Basically, I'll let everybody else now do it.
Oh well, when I put the word out to Kurt Jamungle, and he's all into that consciousness stuff. So
yeah, okay, yeah. Now I can tell. Okay, you tell Kurt. You do communicate with him because he's never contacted.
Yeah, I've been trying to get him. He's super busy. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So, but
Well, yeah, so do I. Now, but the thing you could tell him if he wants to talk to me, I can only talk about consciousness.
he would talk to you for 2 hours of just about consciousness.
But but tell him to read this paper first.
All right, I will send this to him.
Yeah, send this to him. And I'm pretty busy too. So best time would be sometime in the fall because I'm pretty busy right now.
Yeah, well, you got that whole Manhattan Project 2.0 to get started.
Right. So we have to do. Yeah, we have to now that they're saying Sarfatti, okay, put up a shut up. We're gonna dump you in. We'll dump you in the river encased in concrete. No, I'm only kidding. But
cement shoes.
Yeah, cement shoes, right?
Send you for a long walk off a short pier.
Yeah, right. So yeah, so let's see now if we could deliver the goods. But I don't know. Officially 20% probability that we will actually succeed in the time allotted. Who knows? But the other, okay, one thing I can say is that the Chinese are working in this area very, there's a lot of papers in the condensed matter physics by the Chinese.
Oh, yeah, they are on top of all that.
They're on top of all. Oh, okay, yeah, well, that's good paper. That's good paper. That's the general relativity. So that's it. So in terms of the government, as I thought, the government are totally clueless. They haven't contacted me, although people I know in the intelligence community told me they were going to contact me, and they never followed through. But it's okay because at this point, I would have to consult with my lawyers as to what I could actually tell them. I guess whatever I could tell them also would have to be done in closed classified session, and even that, I'd have to have a lawyer with me.
I think most of these people would need an entire 1-year course curriculum of background physics just to get.
Yeah, well, I could. I could actually do that. I could give them a nice PowerPoint presentation on what Einstein said. What time is travel, all that kind of stuff. That I could do to educate them. Yes, and that would be a useful thing to do. But right now I'm busy, and I hope they don't contact me at this point.
Hey, they lost their window of opportunity.
They lost the window of opportunity. Unless they subpoena me.
You got to think on your toes with these things sometimes.
Yeah, and then then I'll be there with my lawyers. All right, so that's it. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
There's lots I want to talk about, but I don't want to get you in trouble with your lawyers. But heck, yeah. Just what would you? Let's talk to the undergraduates out there that want to go to grad school and pursue this stuff. What schools would you suggest? What course curriculum? Anything?
Well, I don't know. If they're in New Zealand, they should go study with Matt Visser.
Yeah, Matt Visser. Yeah, he's the guy.
And that's a good question. I don't see. I'm not really a material science physicist, so that's one of the things I have to catch up on that. So I can't really suggest.
I would suggest for the kind of optics and stuff, Wright State University does a lot of great research. They're connected closely to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where
maybe sure,
and NASIC and stuff. U.S. Air Force Institute of Technology if you're in the military.
Yeah, okay.
Also a ton of research has been done out at University of Rochester in New York.
Oh yeah, well of course they were always in optics, so yeah, I know.
Yeah, super into optics. That's where nearby Cornell, not Cornell, Corning, New York. There's a lot. That's where Pyrex was invented. Lots of optics and glass work and metamaterials work going on at U Rochester. Also, there's up in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, there's Metamaterials Incorporated, which is a company that is doing some research in metamaterials.
Hey, listen, if you could send me a list of metamaterials companies, I appreciate that. What do you know about what's his name, Deep Prasad, in Toronto?
I don't know anything what he's working on. He seems to get a lot of press and a lot of attention from a lot of people, and everyone calling him a genius. But I've yet to see him really display anything that really convinces me he has the deep kind of background knowledge and isn't just relying on other people and for that. He seems like he knows a lot of people who are involved in this and has some contacts and stuff, but I don't know how much of it's just, Silicon Valley big money stuff and how much of it's
Well,
real.
he seems that he has money from Comstock Mining Company, Canadian mining company, and he has hired one of those Navy pilots as his director of operations, and one of I forget which one, Ryan, was it Ryan something? This guy.
Ryan Graves, is it?
Ryan Graves. Okay, Ryan Graves.
That's why he's really close with Elizondo and real buddy with him. And then he's working with Ryan Graves. An interesting thing about Ryan Graves is we found him on the BAE website because he worked for BAE and he was in systems work for BAE. We found him on the BAE website in under a whole thing on spoofing technology and electronic warfare. So he was like a picture of him, and then we sent it to him, and he denied that it was him, and then it disappeared off the BAE website shortly after that. So that was an interesting thing to note about Ryan Graves. And he said, he said I contacted Ryan Graves myself, and he said that that's not me. I asked my wife, and she did, she had a laugh at it or something. And
it was just a guy with the same name, he said.
No, it looks like him. It was. I have a stream on it. I have to go back and find it. Where we talked about this. It was in a whole stream. I think I did a couple, maybe a year or so ago, where we talked about electronic warfare technology and ECCMs, electronic countermeasures, and that kind of stuff. But we had found a video on BAE's website where there's a guy right in the video, and it totally looks like Ryan Graves. And then they took it down, said it wasn't him. But that connection might be significant because if it's a disinformation operation going on, they're going to try to convince everybody that it's spoofing technology, or I don't know. I just have a whole, I don't know. I just don't know what's going on with all these people, and I would love to. Maybe I'll reach out to Deep Prasad and get him on the show, because I've talked to him a few times. I was on another show with him briefly, but I'd really like to get nuts and bolts talk with him just to see how much he knows.
He claims to be using artificial intelligence, I think, to design metamaterials. But he doesn't explain how the metamaterials are going to help the project of propulsion. He never explains that. He starts talking about quantum gravity, which is bullshit, right? I mean, it doesn't have anything really there. So that whole thing's. I mean, Louis Elizondo talks about metamaterials, but of course, I was the first one to link metamaterials, UFOs, and warp drive in my 2011 talk at the DARPA NASA Orlando 100-year Starship meeting. That Sharon Weinberger, a defense journalist, actually wrote a BBC article about. You go on BBC and
that was in 2011, huh?
2011. Just do Sharon Weinberger. No, Sharon.
What's interesting? I have a buddy that worked out at Area 51 on F-15 projects, and he talked about metamaterials, quasicrystals, and all these UFO programs back in 1998.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
His name is Ed Fouche.
Can you find some details on that?
I talked to Ed Fouche every night for like up until he died in 2011. So
he died.
No, in 2016, I think is when he died. But I talked to him for like almost every night for a number of years.
Okay, did he send you any written documents?
He never sent me any. He never had any like hard scientific intelligence on it. He just said that he did a lot of research and was talking to a lot of people to get answers to he was into UFOs during the time his later days working there, and he went and tried to get information out of a number of people, and he refers them to them in the source as sources in this book. I have the book. It's an interesting book. There's not really much in there about this kind of stuff. It was a lot of the stealth.
What you said, quasicrystals and metamaterials and UFOs, huh?
Yeah, he was taught.
Yeah.
He said that if you want to know the secret to how UFOs operate, that it's metamaterials and quasicrystals.
And he said that in 1998.
And he said that in 1998. And I have the original presentation. It was at IUFOC, the International UFO
Is it
Conference.
video? Is it a video? What
Yeah,
is it?
I ordered it right from IUFOC.
Can you post that so we could watch it? Do you have a way of posting it on your website?
So the International UFO Conference in 1998. It's on my channel. I have it posted on my channel.
Okay, if you could find that link, if you could send me the link, I'd like to watch.
Yeah, I'll go find it and I'll post it below. I mean, he says a lot of.
I knew a guy, Foucher. I actually worked with a guy named Foucher at Tech Ops, which was a CIA contractor with Mitra Corporation in 1963. And I worked with a guy named Ed Foucher, but I don't recognize if this is the same guy. He was a physicist who worked, who had been at Rochester. With
Ed I'm gonna have to repost this. I don't think it's up here. Let me just see.
Okay, so you can find, but I don't think it does. I can't remember. There's a long time ago. But can you see if there's an Ed Foucher physicist from? He would have been a laser optical physicist, Edward Foucher.
Maybe it's not Ed Foucher because Ed Foucher was not a physicist. It might have been a.
Well, this is Edgar Fouche, right? Okay, I have my guy. I think was Edward Fouché, but the same last name.
Let me try him on. I would like to go look him up on Google Scholar. Let me just.
Yeah, except this is back in the maybe too long ago. But see if you get anything. See if you get Ed Fouché. Ed Fouché.
E. Fouché. I don't know if this is.
Huh. See if you do Ed Fouché and do with that. Okay. After that, do George. After add George Parent, spelled Parrant. Parant. See if anything.
You just take out the Ed part. Maybe you get the. Maybe I confused you with the first name. It might have been.
Apparently, see, maybe let's see. No, that's a. Yeah.
Who's George Parent?
He was the guy I worked for, heading the program. Do George Parent Tech Ops, but it's so long ago. It's pre George Parent Tech Ops.
Let's try that on just a regular search. This is Google Scholar.
Tech Ops. See what happens.
You just try it on a regular Google search. This is interesting stuff.
It's interesting. Oops. Oh, you see, I talk about him here in that paper. But I guess it's 1963, 64, and I guess it's just it's before anything got into any databases.
Yeah, it's pre-internet, so for
wait,
sure.
Wait, that's a George Parent owner? No. Okay, engineering? No. Okay,
Parent.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But there was a guy who in our team, in our group, called Edward Fouché. For sure, but it's not Edward.
Was he 6'4"? And this Ed was a massive guy. He was 6'4".
Yeah. I don't. I think I probably would have remembered if he was that big. No, I don't think so. Okay, different guy. Maybe they were related. Okay, listen, I got to take a little break here.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us and helping us understand the physics of UFOs a little better and show our. I hope this information can find a way to get to these and educate our congressmen and our senators and our leaders about.
Yeah, well, at this point, I'm in conflict about that because, that would be a problem now for me to actually meet with them. But we'll see. Okay, take care, Jerry.
Thank you so much, Jack.
Okay, bye-bye.
Oh, well, that was quite awesome that Jack took the time to share all that great information with us, and I can't believe he hadn't heard of Ed Fouché, and now I can't find that 1998 IUFOC presentation, so I'm gonna have to go and locate that and make sure that gets posted. Here it is. I forget which part is in the part where he talks about the metamaterials, but we could find it. Yeah, it's these ones right here. Former Area 51 employee Ed Fouche. Hold up, let me just share that so people can see it. And the one with where he's wearing the black shirt, I think is the newer one. That's from '99. So the '98 presentation is this one, where he's wearing that the whiter shirt, and the black shirt's the 1999 presentation.
If you're a commercial,
both at IUFOC. So definitely go check that out, and I'll post a link to it. I'm going to go through it right now and find the one where he talks about the metamaterials, and I'll pull that clip out because that was important. More people should know about that, because he's like, oh, I'm the first one to link UFOs and metamaterials in 2011. I was like, wait a minute. All right, yeah. Okay, guys, thank you so much, and you might want to go and check this out. These hearings were pretty boring. I would love to be a fly on the wall for the classified portion of it, just to see if anything's beyond this is being discussed. But man, we got so far to go and so much work to be done. Guys, thank you so much. You're an awesome audience. Please share this information and spread the word. Thank you so much. You guys rock. And we're gonna get more of these guests on, more of these people. We'll see if we can get Matt Visser on, see if we can get Deep Prasad on here, and some of these other guys. We got to get this. We got to build some quasicrystals and some metamaterials. Yeah. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Whatever. Thank you.